I do apologize for keeping you waiting.
No, it's fine.
we-
But you're too far away from me.
yeah. Perhaps I should declare that you and I have known one another for a long time. We were at university together. We have some history together.
Yes, Chief Justice.
You studied Deep Juris, B.Juris, and LLB at the University of Transkei between 1986 and 19. Well, you achieved these qualifications in 1986, 1988, 1990, respectively.
Yes, Chief Justice.
And then had a long involvement in public service. That's where you cut your teeth. You've always worked for government, not so.
I don't know any other employment rather than the Department of Justice and the OCJ.
And did you study part-time? Because I see that you got these qualifications.
Yes, I did.
I didn't realize
when I
that.
was an administrative officer, administrative clerk, I was working in Mkanduli. And I would attend late classes.
From Kandoli?
Yes.
My goodness. All right. So you became a magistrate quite early on, from a young age.
Yes.
And so between 1991, well, you started as a clerk, then became the legal assistant, through which many of us went, and then became a magistrate in 1991 already, until 2012, by which time you were already a regional magistrate.
Yes.
So how long were you in the magistracy?
I think 21 years, if my calculation is right.
Yeah, thereabouts. And you were permanently appointed as a judge in 2012, having acted before that.
Having acted for about 2 years.
Where only in Kimberley or elsewhere?
No, there's a stint that I did in Pretoria.
All right. How long did you remain in Kimberley?
From when I was appointed to 25 July 2019.
And you transferred to the Eastern Cape?
To the Eastern Cape, yes.
Straight to Gqeberha?
Straight to Gqeberha.
Right. I recall that you had you previously applied for this position, but in the Northern Cape.
In the Northern Cape, yes.
And ultimately you asked for a transfer.
Yes.
And there was trouble there of some kind. That's why you wanted to leave.
Yes, Chief Justice.
How have you settled in the Eastern Cape?
Like I indicated in my last interview, that as soon as I left Northern Cape, I never got sick since I arrived in the Eastern Cape.
So you needed to go back home, it seems.
I needed to go home.
All right. You have listed a few judgments in this context and the other, but that doesn't tell us just how many judgments you've written during these many years you've had on the senior bench. How many would you say you've written in all?
I don't know, maybe beyond 500. I don't know, because it's been a long time.
And have any of them been reported?
Some of them have been reported.
Do you know how many?
I don't know how many.
More than 10? Less than 10?
Maybe less than 10, I don't know.
I don't understand. I mean, maybe it's my sick personality, but I'm very finicky. But I want to know what's out there about me.
Yeah, it's because I've found it not easy to know how you get these reported judgments. I have asked a researcher to check for me. She did check, but then those that she found, it's just that I misplaced them. I don't know where I put them in my chambers, and I didn't really have time to get them.
You have acted in this position
I have acted in the Eastern Cape.
in Gqeberha or in the other
I
seats
started by acting in Mthatha for a term.
for a term.
Yes.
When?
Sorry, Chief Justice, let me just make sure that I'm saying it correctly. It was that term last year, and I acted again this last term.
In where? In
I
Gqeberha?
shared the term with Judge Majiki.
All right. Where?
She was in Mthatha for 5 weeks. I was in Gqeberha for 5 weeks, and we swapped.
How does that work? How much can you do
In 4 weeks? I tried to do the much that I could.
How did you find things in Umtata?
Mthatha is in, I don't know if this is the correct word, to say it's in disarray. What was bothering me there was the fact that it's these files that are getting lost. And these last 4 weeks, I was informed that files were found in the children's room under a mattress.
Court files?
Court files. And
which 4 weeks? Just recently?
Just recently. And a big chunk of those files belonged to one firm. And other files were found in another office. Others were found in the passages. I didn't actually see them, but I was informed whilst I was there acting as DJP. And
well, who would have put them in these strange places?
Who
has access to
these
rooms?
The others were found in the roping room where practitioners rope. I don't know what files one day. So this kind of bothered me that files are, are placed in this kind of fashion. And when I got there, I was informed that there was a meeting between practitioners and the registrars. Unfortunately, in that meeting, I did not contribute much because apparently it was a return meeting of what was discussed in the previous meeting, and I didn't know what was discussed in the previous meeting. So I suggested that I would want to have a meeting with the registrars, not before practitioners, but just the registrars. So I asked them, how is this that files are getting lost or files are found under mattresses and other offices and passages? They did not proffer any explanation that I could understand in terms of they also don't know. But then I asked them as to what plans have they put in place to curb this conduct. They told me about an introduction of registers that they would if someone comes to seek a file, they would put that on a register and let someone sign. But then, because of the many files that are there, I just saw I didn't think that that would be quite efficient. So I left it there on that day. But I told them that I'm not satisfied with the plan that they had. And unfortunately, in the 4 weeks, I could not be able to make a follow-up of that meeting and, get to know what else we could do. And AJP was not present on that day, so I gave him feedback of what happened because he was absent. So the next meeting that was there, I could not attend because I was busy preparing for roll call the next day. So I did not attend that meeting. But that meeting was with the registrars and the practitioners.
Yeah, it sounds as if that court is just in a state of free fall.
And I should just mention that there's a day when I was supposed to do roll call on a Friday, and what surprised me was that the matters were brought on Wednesday afternoon for me to prepare them on Thursday for Friday. They were brought late on Wednesday, and I queried that, and then I dealt with them on Thursday. But later Thursday, I was informed that the role that I was preparing was a wrong role, because the registrar who was supposed to deal with it did not, do the right role. And what he did that I discovered on Friday that morning was that what he did was to send a role to the practitioners, the wrong one, and said it was an interim role. So when I got to court, there were very few practitioners, and it was very strange for me because when one does roll call on a Friday, court will be full. So it really disturbed my, performance of work on that day. As a result, I had to excuse those practitioners that were not in court because maybe they were still expecting to get a final role and not an interim role. And then I postponed those matters to the following Friday, and I dealt with them.
And what steps, if any, did you
I reported to the
set in motion so that
JSC.
something like that doesn't happen again?
Yes, I called the registrar. No, I didn't, because he was not at work. He had a problem. Apparently, his motor vehicle had been stolen, and I did not see him until I left. But I did explain this, report this to the AJP before I left.
As someone who aspires to permanently join the ranks of the judiciary's leadership, what would you advise to save that court? Which is your court as well, because that is your division.
Yes, Chief Justice, it is my court as well. The problem that I have is that, in that court, you need consistency. And you need someone who's going to be there, taking that process step by step and monitor that it happens the way it should. Because I don't believe that if that can be done, it cannot yield the results. Because I'm saying this because on a particular day when I was there, I arrived at work like I would after 7, and then I asked my secretary to call one of the registrars. That was about 8:20, and that registrar was not at court. Was not in her office. And then I said to my secretary, you just wait until she comes, and she came. That was something to 9. And then I said she must call her. She called her. So I asked her about why was she not at work at 8:00. There was no reason that was advanced. And then I said to her, I am not going to come to office, and when I look for you at 8:00, you are not there. This is not going to happen again. And for that duration of my being there, that did not happen.
Well, you are applying for appointment to head the Gqeberha.
Yes, Chief Justice.
What ideas do you have to ensure that I know that things are not perfect. It may be reputed to run well, but we don't have a perfect court in this country. So what ideas do you have to improve things there and supplement, augment the vision of the judge president in ensuring that that court dispenses justice in the manner envisaged by the Constitution?
Fortunately, I had an opportunity to watch his interview again to just make sure that I understand his vision. And I could see his vision, yes, I heard of it. And in Gqeberha, we had Mr. Van Zyl, Judge Van Zyl as the DJP, and DJP Van Zyl made our court very efficient, and even in his absence, we are keeping it like that. What I have changed so far is the fact that when one colleague does urgent court, they will do unopposed motion, opposed motion, bail appeals, urgents. And you would receive all this pack on a Friday, round about 1:00. So my concern was, why must a colleague get opposed motion on Friday with unopposed? When are they going to prepare for them? Because once you get your unopposed, you start preparing for them until there's motion court on Tuesday, and then they only have Wednesday to prepare for opposed on Thursday. So I decided that I will roll call the opposed a week before, so that I give them to the colleague so that they can be able to work on them, try to start drafting judgments if they want to. And then, in my view, when I did that, it was like trying to, because colleagues are inundated with reserved judgments, that would at least enlighten their work when they are able to do that. So colleagues in my office, in fact, I did this in Umtata too, when I was there. And colleagues, welcomed the idea.
Have you finished with your ideas?
Oh,
Is there more?
this now is coming from Umtata. What I have observed in Umtata is that if you DJP there, you concentrate on civil because you do roll call on a daily basis. And if 3 judges are out on circuit, then you are left with either 2 or 3 for civil matters. And from that 3 that's left, one still needs to do default judgments because there's a role for default judgments.
Specifically for default judgments?
Yes. So if on Monday you had the 3 judges to work with civil, then it means on Tuesday you don't have that judge because they must prepare for that default judgment role. And then on Thursday, there's also settlement role, which is separate from the other matters. So it makes it difficult to work with one judge, which makes it necessary for me to also go to court and do whatever matter I can do because there's no other judges. And sometimes that makes me gain a number of hard-hit matters because I would be there for a specific period of time. And then before I finish that matter, I would have to leave, go to Kabeja again. Then what I normally do when that happens is that we would arrange that we either do that matter during recess or we do it virtually. And so this there's the circuit courts there, Flagstaff, Tabankulu, Lusikisiki, Bizana, Lady Frey, Stexprate, Butterworth. I think there's an 8th one.
What's St. John's?
Port St. John's, yes. So one judge goes into one of those circuits once in 2 weeks, maybe. And because in that court, there's a lot of these organized crime matters. And in those matters, there's a number of accused. And the judge would, in fact, one of the judges informed me that sometimes they struggle with witnesses coming to court, and they would mention the fact that they come from rural areas and there's no formal roads and transport becomes a problem. So they are unable, therefore, to finalize one matter in 2 weeks. And because on a Monday, when the matter is supposed to start, counsel would be saying that they have just been briefed and they need to consult. So one day is spent for that. So that takes away the time to actually do the matters in order for one to finalize those matters. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position now to know when a judge goes to circuit, how many matters would be in that role. Because I remember that when I was in Northern Cape, JP would say that you go on circuit, you have 2 matters, you have 2 weeks. When you come back, everything must be finalized. And that happened.
So it's not just an issue of getting more judges.
It is a matter of getting more judges, especially in the main court when judges go to circuit. And it's also a matter of, I think, 2 weeks being too little a time for one to say they can finalize maybe a matter that has 5 accused and 5 counsel. So one would need to, if the JP or AJP is inclined to allow a judge that goes on circuit to at least be there for at least 4 weeks to be able to finalize matters, because if we want to say that matters should be, trials must continue to run until they finish, then at least 4 weeks would be,
But then there'll be a shortage of judges
there'll
at
be a shortage
headquarters.
of judges at that stage in the main office. And we all know that at least judges will not be appointed overnight or in the next 6 weeks or whatever. So it's still going to be a problem.
How
So-
many judges are there in Umtata?
I think 7,
Just 7.
I think so.
All right. Okay. One last thing from me. I usually focus more on the GCB's comments because they are very thorough and they actually go through candidates' judgments and assess them, fully. Now I'm looking at their comments on you. Quite, they're quite positive, and they say a lot of good things about your judgment writing. They speak about your ability to succinctly and meaningfully grasp the essential issues in a matter, that your judgments reflect your extensive professional experience and are indicative of unique and qualitative formulation and reasoning, well-researched, meticulously crafted, and logical in presentation. And finally, that you produce well-written judgments within a reasonable time. We have a comment from the BLA that says you don't have the intellectual prowess to lead a court.
Yes, I saw that, Chief Justice, and my view is that I don't work with them. The people that I work with have given comments about how I work.
What do you mean you don't work with them?
Intellectually, in terms of they can't say they see me, they know. For instance, I don't know where they take it from, where they base it from to say that we don't have intellectual or ability to lead. Because in my case, if one looks at my CV, I started to lead when I was a senior prosecutor. That was a long time ago. That was a managerial position. And I went up the ranks of a magistrate. I headed offices without complaints up until now. So I don't understand when someone says, I cannot lead. I don't agree with their comment.
In fact, the GCP does go on to speak about your administrative control of case flow management and roll calls and so on. And they say your skills in that area are exemplary, to use their terminology. All right.
Thank you,
Judge
Justice.
Pakati. AJP?
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, CJ. There is an issue here which is worrisome. That is an issue of performance, which the papers explain in terms of the judgments that we have written, the number of judgments appealed, and the successful and unsuccessful appeals, as the case may be, as well as the reported judgments that we have written.
Sorry, AJP, are you talking, is this a memorandum? What is this?
there is information
Oh,
here
okay.
about the number of judgments that you wrote and became appealed.
Yes.
Information tells us that while some were successfully appealed, others were not.
Sorry. Amongst that list that has the ones that were unsuccessfully appealed, there's 2 judgments that came out just now that were upheld on appeal. So they can form part 2 of them, of that list.
Those
They
are
can be
additional
added,
to
yes.
the 9 that are listed.
No. These ones were not successfully appealed against. There's 2 that are in the list. So there's another 2 now that I'm adding.
Okay. Then when talking about the number of reported judgments, we're given information that there's only 1
No,
reported judgment.
no, I don't have 1 reported judgment. There's only 1 there because when I completed this form, I was not in my chambers. That is the reason.
Also, there are more. It's just that here in the papers,
Yeah,
this is
yes,
1.
yes, AJP.
If you are appointed as DJP, information has it that you would have about 5 years plus 6 months to work at the court prior retirement, right?
Yes, AJP.
Then if we measure that against your stints, would you say that your acting stints are sufficient? They've made you strong enough to be appointed as DJP?
I can safely say that, AJP, because if you remember well, when I acted in Tata, on the day of my last stint, you and other senior colleagues congratulated the way I worked, and you were happy with how I worked as a DJP in that office at the time. And I need to say that when I got to Mthatha, the practitioners, they were not time conscious. Courts would start at any time, and when I arrived, I started court. I would leave my chambers at 5 to 9. By 9 o'clock, by 3 minutes to 9, I'm standing next to the court door. Come 9 o'clock, I'll be sitting on the bench. And in those first days, I noticed that practitioners would just arrive whenever, not at 9 o'clock. And I continuously started my court at 9 o'clock. And if a practitioner is not there, I would strike their matter off the roll. And when they come back, they want to recall it. I do not do that. I say you are going to be in court at 9 o'clock. By the time I left Chief Justice, that court was starting at 9 o'clock. And even now, when they know that Judge Pakati is coming, everyone pulls up their socks. They know that I'm strict on that. I start my court on time, consistently.
You have spoken about Mthatha being in disarray.
Yes, AJP.
Cause of the files that get lost.
Yes, AJP.
Did you manage to get to the bottom of this?
Because of the short period of time that I was there.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry, AJP.
that one, as a fact, the files get lost. 2, the identity of those files. 3, what efforts were made by those aggrieved by the files that have become lost, what they've done, what they've not done, as the case may be.
AJP, I'm sorry, I did not note the questions. Can you just repeat them? I'm sorry, AJP.
Were you able to establish as a fact that,
Yes,
that there are files that got lost
yes,
in the manner in which you were told, whatever the source
yes.
that you had at your disposal? But did you get tangible facts as to about this story of files that are getting lost?
No, AJP, I did not. That's why I said earlier that when I asked the registrars as to why files were getting lost, they couldn't tell me really what happened. They said they didn't know how.
So, in what other respect do you support the statement that Mthatha is in disarray? I noted only that one. Can you recall any other way in which to explain the state of Mthatha being in disarray?
For instance, AJP, if I'm ready to go to court and a registrar gives wrong information to practitioners and the court is kind of confused, can't start, and there's no practitioners for me to deal with that court efficiently, of course, as I have to. That is not the way it's supposed to be.
But it seems that the real issue is the type of response that you provided in order for the problem to be dealt with.
If you are too far from your mic, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying the end point of that information could, in fact, I venture to say that it must have placed you in a position where you could be able to say that this is the problem and this is the way in which I can address the problem. Did you get to that point?
That is the reason why AJP, I called the registrars and I had a meeting with them.
Yes, and then what became of that meeting? If you do know, how did that end? How did it pan out?
I asked them as to how and why do files get missing or files are found in passages or under mattresses. They did not know. And then I asked them, what plan do they have in order to curb this conduct of files getting lost? And then they told me that they want to introduce registers to keep track of the files. And I want to suggest here now to say that my view about these files getting lost, I have heard, I'm not sure if this is correct, that Gauteng requested old files from practitioners to upload them, because if they are uploaded, then at least they are not going to get lost. I understand that that might take time in Mthatha because there's a lot of files that are involved there. So it's not going to be easy. At least those that would have been uploaded will not get lost.
So your reaction is that Cotton Line may assist in this,
Yes,
in this regard?
AJP. Yes, AJP.
With regard to circuit and the suggestion you have made that it would be better for judges to spend more time at circuits.
Yes, AJP.
You said 4 weeks,
Yes, AJP.
but you could not put that into action. That could not be action.
No, AJP, I couldn't.
And
The last time I was there, I was only there for 4 weeks.
Yes, and I'm sure you can't tell what the outcome of such implementation would be.
No, AJP, I can't unless it gets started and then one can see whether it works or not.
We have meetings, joint meetings. This was have you suggested this at joint meetings?
AJP?
Have you suggested this at joint meetings?
No, AJP, I noticed that now that I just left.
And you have been in receipt of rosters, term in, term out. Term in, term out. That is rosters, term rosters drawn up by me.
Yes,
You have been in
AJP.
receipt of them. And I take it that whilst you made those observations, that was in the course of implementation of those term rosters.
I don't understand you, AJP.
Is your suggestion not that something must be done about changing the method of preparing the term rosters?
Yes, AJP, that is it.
Yeah. Why I raise this is because I've never heard of this suggestion during meetings, that is with colleagues, because that's where we discuss these things in order to follow them up and see if, rather, and look into the efficacy of a term roster, which is adopted from meeting to meeting. And that is even before a new term takes off.
I did not have a meeting with any stakeholder in Tata at the time I was there, the last time when I observed this. So I did not have an opportunity of attending to that.
There is a report here by an advocate called Nguta. He mentioned something that happened some time ago about which he was not pleased about you. I was not there, I do not know, but the information I have is limited to what is provided in the documents that were provided to the JSC. Are you able to explain yourself out of all that is here?
There is a response that I sent to this commission. I'm not sure if you have seen that response, because I explained in that response what happened. I don't know if you want me to repeat that.
So you prefer to refer to that response and that's it?
Yes, I prefer to refer to that response.
Okay. When it comes to sexual harassment policy, a lot has been discussed, I think. Do you agree with me that a lot has been discussed at the division about it?
Yes, AJP.
Would you regard the discussions as having been positive or negative? Positive in the sense of support for implementation being given or shown?
During the discussions, AJP, I did not get a sense that there was an opposition to the implementation of the sexual harassment policy. Even when we attended the webinar, a number of colleagues from the Eastern Cape had attended. You attended too.
And we had a discussion further discussion at the joint meeting, not so?
It was about the comments that have to be sent
Yes.
to Justice JP.
Thank you very much. I don't have further questions, Chair.
Thank you. Premier?
Thank you very much, Chief Justice, and good afternoon to Judge Pakati.
Good afternoon, Premier.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. CJ, can we just a sweeping comment on these referenced comments made by these organizations and associations with regard to
We're struggling to hear you, Premier.
Oh, no, I was just saying as
Officials of
a
AJP,
sweeping
please.
comment on some of the comments made, or the reference to comments made by some of the organizations like BLA. I was just reading this one two-pager
Yes,
they have
Premier.
written about all the candidates, just a summary. One, but also if you go to the next one, there is another comment done, very elaborate comment done by Mr. Makanya, who's an attorney in East London. I think it gives more perspective. And I was just worried about the BLA seems to be writing these documents from its headquarters here in Sandton. Whether are they really in touch with those issues? Or it's just a question of just an attitude. But coming to you, Judge Pakati, I just have few, not that much from my side. Just thinking, because if, as you have been indicating your experiences about Umtata, etc., just thinking that sometimes leadership often involves the guiding of colleagues who may be more senior and some or with more experience, longer serving, might not be senior in terms of literal appointment. So how are you navigating that situation where you are into a situation of longer serving who are not senior? In this case, do you find it easy to manage a situation? I'm interested in your comment you made earlier about Northern Cape. You just said since you arrived in Gqeberha, you never fell sick again. So I was interested probably what could have been the situation which might have led you to falling sick more often on the that other division in Northern Cape, if you may just share that. But also understanding, because I believe that judiciary or judiciary's strength rests on trust, transparency, and ethical leadership. I'm trying to link that issue you were commenting on this ethical leadership. Sometimes I know in government, there are people whom you believe, if you look at them, they are just employed to frustrate others. It is their job, just to make people suffer, people feel this way or that other way. So if you possibly could be appointed, how would you promote the culture of harmony with that experience you have, integrity and teamwork within that benches at Gqeberha? Because I think it's quite critical. It's quite critical to have that issue of working through different characters and navigating those personalities. So I was more interested, but you said Gqeberha, it's a running machine. It's a well lubricated machine because of systems that have been built, which I'm quite impressed, because we've been saying this, that we must always avoid building systems around individuals. Because when individuals are not there, systems collapses. But if you institutionalize systems, you get what we are talking about here from Judge Van Zyl. The work that he has done, you're still reaping the fruits and enjoying the kind of systems that he has created for that. But also this Tata phenomenon of missing files. You're saying files are found, there is allegedly belonging to a particular law firm. To whom are these files belong? Are they belonging to that high court, or are they belonging to that law firm? If they are found, because you just said they were found and nothing. So I think like this that continue giving this wrong impression, particularly around that. As I sit here, I ask myself, I don't really have a picture of how court looks is run. Is there a manager? Is there what? Or a manager is also a judge. But it looks like kukwanti nonti akekho. As I'm listening since the morning about Umtata, literally, kukwanti nonti akekho. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Premier. I'll start with the one that deals with how I relate to seniors. Am I going to be able to unify the colleagues? Already, since I arrived in Gqeberha in 2019, I have had a very healthy relationship with my colleagues. That extends, in actual fact, I just want to say that when I got there, they told me that here you are not going to be treated like you were treated in Northern Cape. We will treat you well here, we are all colleagues. And about senior colleagues should be there for guidance if one needs guidance, because they are more experienced. But for
Sorry,
as long-
CJ. I wonder if Judge Tlalet wants to intervene at this stage.
Oh, did he raise his hand? Well, he didn't. He wasn't the head of that court when she was there. Carry on, Judge Pakati.
I was talking about the senior colleagues. Senior colleagues are very helpful. With the judiciary, we have I can say it's compulsory for judges to meet at the tea room all the time when it's time for tea. That gathering is done to keep pace with each other, talk about matters, talk about all other things, advise one another about stuff that maybe one would have, experienced in court. We talk about that. So there is harmony that I'm bringing. And that extends to Makanda, Bisho, and Mtata. Like I'm telling you now that if there was no harmony in Mtata when I'm there, this that I have just mentioned would not happen. That when I'm there, practitioners pull up their socks. They are early in court. They come to court timelessly, and things run in the court efficiently. I don't know if there's any other thing that I left out, Premier.
It's true, CJ. I was just
The
talking
missing
about
files.
missing
Oh.
files, because my feeling is that it looks like there are no consequent management. If something happens, it just happens. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm not very sure, Premier, why would files leave the strong room? Because I think files should be in the strong room, but I was told that the other places where they put files. But that doesn't justify finding files under a mattress. And I did not physically get the files.
No, thank
Did
you.
I don't know if I lost something.
No, bahleka le nto mattress. Yeke wena.
Follow up, CJ.
Follow up?
Follow up, yes. CJ, I think the follow up that I want to make to the judge relates to the point that she made. But I suspect I'll have to greet Judge Pakati first, because I see that in your CV, you relate that you were a judge of the Northern Cape Division of the High Court, and therefore, I think the authority and the weight of the statement that you made is quite important. And if the judge makes a reference to this forum, that like you were treated in the Northern Cape, I suspect it needs further elaboration, because sitting this side, we represent, as part of the commission, we are from the National Council of Province. And in that province, I'm a permanent delegate of the Northern Cape province. So I want to invite you to elaborate so that at least this matter is not left hanging. Thank you.
Commissioner, much as I would want to elaborate on this, if I do that, it really brings back the memory.
And it is there's a transcript in front of us, and you've been before this body afterwards. And I thought we put that, that I think we should just let that dog sleep, Commissioner Momoimang.
No, I agree, CJ, because I was part.
It was aired at
Yes.
length at the time. It's right here in front of us, and you've been here from the Eastern Cape, and I don't think there's any need to rehash it.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
I would not have raised it. She's the one that brought it. So that's why I made a follow-up. But I'm happy with the ruling that the CJ made. But I would not have raised it because I was part of the interview panel.
You were here.
No, in 2019, I was part of that panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. President? Yes, you're the only president in the room.
Thank you, CJ. Good afternoon, Judge Pakati.
Good afternoon, President.
How are you?
I'm fine, President. How are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you.
I have two questions, and the first one relates to the comment about the lack of demonstrable experience by all the candidates. Now, I note that you've been a judge for 13 years now, and prior to that, you were a magistrate for a long time, and that you have acted as a deputy judge president
Yes, President.
in the Northern Cape and
Yes.
Umtata.
Yes, President.
So these are all leadership positions, I would imagine.
Yes, President. They are.
Would you say that they have been helpful in shaping your leadership qualities that have prepared you for the role that you are applying for now?
They have, President. Like I indicated that I started very young and I went through the ranks in leadership positions. I am at this stage ready to do that.
Yes, thank you. My second question is just a concern that I have regarding what has been raised in respect of of Mthatha Court.
Yes.
Personally, I am still trying to grapple with how one court can be lagging so far behind two other courts which are under the leadership of the same judge president, and I'm asking myself how something like that could have happened. So my questions are just an effort of me trying to, get a handle on that. Have you participated in the PEEC forum, Provincial Efficiency Enhancement Committee forum, at the Northern Cape or in the Eastern Cape Division?
I have attended PEC in Northern Cape and here
Okay, in both courts.
in both courts, yes, President.
And how did you deal with the challenges that were raised by practitioners at these meetings? Because that's a forum where practitioners and all other stakeholders air their views regarding the running of the court. And that's how you, as the leader of the court, communicate with them regarding any dissatisfaction that you may have in terms of how they conduct themselves.
President, that forum is an important forum because that's where all stakeholders are there in order to see to it that the justice is not just done, it is seen to be done, because if there are problems from this end and then that other end, they come together and a solution is found so that the performance of the courts, because at the end of the day, it goes to the performance of the courts, that the JP or AJP who's attending, they can be in a position to know what the issues are and be able to deal with.
Sorry, my question then is, what did you do in terms of following up to see to it that the problems that have been raised there are resolved? I would imagine that the problem of disappearing files and things like that would have been raised by practitioners at that forum. And so my question is, what did you do as part of the leadership of the division to address that problem?
Unfortunately, President, when I was DJP, I did not attend the PEC because here you would be DJP for a period of time, you out, and then you in, you out. So there's no kind of consistency so that if you do something, you can be able to attend to it fully. The time I was there, Judge Van Zyl was still here. He had just asked me to attend on his behalf. So I attended on his behalf.
Now, as the acting DJP, did you not maybe try to follow up to find out from him how the problems have been resolved?
Not yet, President. I don't want to say something that's wrong.
Yes, last question, CJ, and still emanates from this. So have you discussed this with the current ADJP, these problems? Have you discussed them with him as the current leader of that court?
AJP.
Yes.
Yes, I have. When I was in Mthatha,
Yes.
I spoke to him about these things.
Yes.
Yes.
And did you perhaps check whether these issues were raised, were escalated to the NEEC?
No.
No follow-ups?
No, President, no.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Judge Pakati. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, President Prof.
Thank you very much, CJ. Good morning, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. Yes. I have a question for you.
Yes.
I've been trying to make sense of how our courts are dealing with customary law. and whether this is an area of law that our judges are paying serious attention to in the manner in which they do when they interpret the common law, whatever that is. And I've realized that there are different statutes that have been promulgated, at least since 1994, that addresses one or more aspects of either customary law or custom. You can talk about the Traditional and Quasi Leadership Act, the Traditional Leadership and Governance Framework Act, the Recognition of Customary Remedies, and others. And when one looks at the Constitution, it appears to me that customary law has been granted a constitutional recognition, that it is a system of law in South Africa that is worthy of being respected. Now, when a dispute arises that requires an engagement with either customary law, whatever that means, or custom in its traditional form, it doesn't seem to me that judges are, or perhaps maybe that's how the cases are presented, but nonetheless, when one reads the judgment, it doesn't appear to me that judges engage with the custom itself and to try to understand the custom, even in the different interpretations that are given by the parties before the court. What I want to understand is, this kind of, to the extent to which I am right, if I'm wrong, then I will accept and I will concede. But to the extent to which I may be right, does this approach assist in South Africans understanding what their custom or different customs are as disputes continue to come before the court, when the interpretation is restricted to what may be regarded as an applicable sort of legislation?
Prof, I want to think that, first of all, it just depends what issue is before that judge regarding the custom. In order for that judge to have to start questioning the custom first, or bringing it up, or asking about it to know, so that it appears in the judgment. So it's just that I'm not in a position to say that dispute would be a dispute that would be able to reveal what custom would that be. I remember when I was in Pretoria, I dealt with a matter that dealt with chiefs of Ndebele. And you know, I remember that when I got into court, I could see the faces of the gallery that they were like, "Hey woman, this is customary," and all that. So they couldn't think that I would be in a position to deal with that matter, but I dealt with it. That's why I'm saying the difference is that if I know the issues, then I would be able to bring out the real custom, so that, because you must remember that, like you just said, customary law is recognized by the Constitution, so there's nothing wrong with that. Not at all. And if we are not showing it enough in our judgments, then we need to do that going forward. And I'm happy that this question you've been asking it, and I have heard. That is why in the Eastern Cape, we rotate so that we get to do these matters that deal with custom, because these matters are dealt with around Mthatha and not in Gqeberha. So that rotation also helps. That's why I'm saying to you now, I have heard you.
That has to be the most satisfying answer I've heard ever since these interviews have started. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. On the issue of case line, there has been much talk about the case lines in the Eastern Cape. I think it is established now that there is no conflict, but there is some disagreement on the modalities as to how it should be introduced. Where do you sit there? Are you one of those who are opposed to it?
Not at all, Prof, because you heard me say to avoid the missing files in Mtata, we should go to the extent of requesting practitioners to upload the old files so that they don't get lost. I want to think that the reason why some colleagues are still hesitant is not because they don't want to do it. It's lack of knowledge or fear of the unknown. Because I can tell you, at the time we were trained about it, it was foreign to us. But now it depends how quick you grasp the issues. So we will still have that. It's just like when COVID hit. When COVID hit, there was virtual hearings that were introduced. Some of the colleagues did not want to use virtual until they were, they got into it and then they found it that it's working.
Thank you very much, Judge Mokoko.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, CJ.
Commissioner Matolo Klebu?
Thank you, CJ, and good afternoon, Judge Pakati.
Good afternoon.
I've been listening to, I'm sorry to repeat this issue about Mtata. I'm just worried that if it looks like the registrar there is actually doing his own thing or her own thing, has he ever or he been disciplined? I mean, like for instance, giving practitioners a wrong role. And if it's not, the issues are not about the registrar, it looks like also the issues are with practitioners. Have somebody or the seniors there approach the LPC to deal with practitioners who are misbehaving?
Commissioner, I can't really say anything about that because I did not get to that stage. The only time I interacted with the registrars was when, because I also could not understand why files are getting lost, to a point that some colleagues do not want to work on temporal files because the issue that's going to happen with those temporal files, you will be told that there was an order in the main file, and now the main file is not there. There's a temporal file. You get to be given a draft order to say, Judge, on whatever day you signed an order, and they demand that you sign that order. You cannot do that. You just can't do that. It has gone to that level. And if you go to Mtata, let's say for a week, you do motion, unopposed motion, and you go back to Kabeja. 9 months down the line, you are called to say, my secretary will be called, Judge, whoever my secretary, just let the judge know that on whatever date when you guys were here, judge signed an order, and this order looked like this. How do you sign an order now that you signed 9 months ago? You don't even know that these contents of this order is the same as that one that you signed. In my case, I refuse to sign those orders because I cannot sign an order that someone saying I signed an order and now bringing a draft, a copy. I refuse to do that.
Just a little follow-up. You are all judges in that division. And obviously the problems that you have experienced, they were experienced by other judges. Each judge experienced. So what did you do as judges? Because it can't be you doing this and the other one doing that. Haven't you really sat down and said, let's tackle this thing?
There was
Because
a
it
time,
affects the judiciary.
sorry, Commissioner. There was a time when we would come from Gqeberha to Mthatha to do, because you would notice these things when you do duty. And we had approached, oh, I did not, but my colleagues say they approached the JP to say, please, just take a number of us in Gqeberha, bring us in Mthatha to sort out this mess in the motion court. But that did not happen.
Thank you, Chairman. CJ.
Commissioner Mangen?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good afternoon, Judge.
Oh,
I'm here.
sorry. Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Now, let me take you away from Tata. It's very depressing. I note from your CV that on the 17th of November 2015, you delivered a paper or at a conference, the first annual Court and Case Flow Management Africa Conference.
2017,
Yeah, 2015.
2015.
Yes, it was on the audio-visual remand system.
That was long time ago.
And I'm surprised that as part of the things that you would want to do once you assume leadership, you would want to implement the system which worked so well during the COVID system.
You know what, Commissioner? I think it's because I did not see it in Gqeberha, and I thought maybe there things are going like smoothly. I have never, because I have not been in the PEC to hear how, because that would have happened when prisoners would be in prison and the magistrate wants to, they should not be brought to court, but you can, deal with their matters in their absence, especially if they are going to be postponed. So I did not experience that in Gqeberha.
You did not experience it, but as a person who's aspiring to assume a position of leadership, it's within your right to bring new ideas.
Yeah.
And if you find that something as beautiful as the audio-visual remand system can work and save both police, prisoners, and the court,
No, I agree
sometime
with you.
it
I
needs
agree
to be
with you,
implemented.
I agree with you fully.
Is it something that you will do? I want to believe it's something
Yes.
that you will do. Lastly, in response to the questionnaire, page 13 of your questionnaire, you don't need to go there. It's innocuous, this one.
Oh,
You were asked if you have published any article.
no.
And my reading of your CV says that in 2015, you delivered 8 papers.
8.
8 on various topics of law and on important topics, including this one on the audiovisual remand system. And I'm with the GCB saying that you write well, you research your judgment. Why is it that these papers did not find their way, at least into SAJ journal?
Now that you mention it, Commissioner, I will take that and do something about that in the future, because I have not stopped doing that. I continue doing this.
Finally, I'm from the BLA. Thank you so much.
And you did not support me.
Not me.
But remember, there's a contradiction here, Chief Justice. By the BLA student chapter and the mother body, they say 2 different things.
Yeah.
And I don't know why is that.
Well, the BLA seldom supports anyone, as I've discovered from personal experience as well. I'm not afraid to say that. Have you finished, Commissioner Mangen?
I'm done, Chief Justice. Thank you so much. My apology for not alerting the Chief Justice.
JP Talezi.
Thank you, Chief Justice, and good afternoon, Judge Pakati.
Oh, sorry, JP. You're too far away, that's
I
why.
thought you are used to this voice.
I am.
Okay. Firstly, the complaint by Mr. Nguta.
Yes.
Yeah. For us judges, what is the lesson have you considered that you should learn from that experience? He's got these allegations, you have responded. That is on record.
Yes.
But what do you think as the judiciary or judges you should learn from this experience?
The first one that I would think about is the fact that, in actual fact, what I learned for myself now is that, for instance, Mr. Nguta was not supposed to have appeared before me because he was not instructed by anyone, but I still listened to him. There was no first respondent, there was no attorney of his day. And for me, he is someone who's disgruntled by the fact that things didn't go his way on that day. And that is why I am here now talking about that.
Okay. He's got this version, you've got your version. I would propose that we should learn, what we should learn as the judges, we should limit what we say in chambers when we meet counsel. Because we are opening ourselves to our credibility being questioned.
Exactly.
Because
No,
he went to court and immediately placed certain things on record that would have, according to him, happened.
No, I
And
agree with you.
what is common cause is that something was said, but we do not know to take. Yes.
I agree with you, JP.
Thank you. And then the last question on the issue of judges in the Eastern Cape saying that they would not treat you like you were treated in the Northern Cape. Did they provide the details of their treatment? And are you also able to provide the names of those judges? I leave it freely on your
JP.
hands.
No.
What is no?
No, they did not provide. Isn't it that they asked me why I wanted to go there? And then I told them.
Oh.
So that was the reason.
On what you told them?
Yes.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, JP.
Minister? Thank you very much, CJ. Good afternoon, Judge Pakati.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Just one thing that I picked up, I want to do a follow-up. You spoke about a matter that you had signed off, and then 6 months down the line, you are called to say, sign this, and you refused. What did you do about that matter? I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about the applicant, the person who's seeking justice from our courts, and is suffering out of an administrative problem. Because if I'm an applicant, I have nothing to do with the administration, whether it's a registrar, it's a clerk, it's a secretary, it's a judge. I'm there to seek justice out of South African system that it's guaranteeing me that right to access to justice as per the Constitution. Now, what happens to this incident, especially in light of the person that you were dealing with on this motion?
Minister, the problem here is that it's not because that order is indeed lost. It's just that maybe you need to do another order. That is what, when you work in Umtata, you just need to keep your eyes open. Otherwise, you'll be signing all the wrong things. Because after
I don't
that-
understand what you are saying, Judge, my apologies.
Okay, let me just say this.
I'm asking specifically in relation to an applicant who is a citizen seeking justice, has come before you, you have signed an order, then comes after some time, they say sign another order, and you said no. And my question is, what did you do about that situation? Have you checked that the person who's an applicant actually received the order? Or as they were asking, because if you're saying the nature, as all of you have been saying here as judges in the division, that Mtata is a mess, if I'm to summarize it from what the judges that appeared before us today. Now, I'm asking from a point of a citizen, not from a point of an administration. Because as a judge, your responsibility is to disperse justice in the interest of the applicants.
I hear you, Minister. My answer to your question would be that after I did not sign the order, I was in Gqeberha, and this was coming from Umtata. So when I went back to Umtata, I sought the record book where I had entered the order. And in that record book, you won't see the content of the order. You will just see that the draft order is made an order of court. So until I see the order that I had signed, to see that it is the very order that's brought before me now. And I don't know whether to say after that, no complaint was brought to say I signed an order, and then the litigant is now struggling to get justice out of that. That's why I indicated earlier that this is the tendency that happens in Umtata, that when you leave, you are followed with these kinds of complaints. And most of the times, these complaints are not genuine.
My follow-up, you appear to be a passive participant to a court that you are saying is dysfunctional to us. You have a duty as a judge to ensure functionality. If you are aware that these are the issues, and I'm coming from a point of access to justice in an area that is a poor rural area, with majority of the people that are illiterate, seeking justice out of our system. And as a judge, you are appearing before us and saying, this is normality, that I have come to accept that this is normal with Umtata. I would come in, dispense my duty. If I'm there for a day, I'm going to do this work. If there's a complaint afterwards, it's not for me. It's for the system to deal with.
No.
That can be a role a judge plays in a democracy in terms of your contribution to access to justice.
No, Minister, that is, if I conveyed an indication that I was passive, then that is not the case. All I am saying is that it's not like I don't care. I've been dispensing justice, Minister, for the whole of my life. I have been dispensing justice throughout my whole life. I've been working for the Department of Justice until I became a judge. So I know that litigants' interests should be taken care of.
Well, thanks, Judge. CJ, we do have a problem. Because almost everybody that's appeared here says there's a problem in Mthatha. But none have been active or given us, it's like, yeah, anyway.
Can I ask you something else? Why are judges being asked to sign court orders? I thought, my experience is that the issuance of court orders lies within the province of a court registrar. I've never signed a court order in 26 years as a judge.
Exactly, Chief Justice. That is the reason why I wasn't able to sign an order, because it's the registrar who signs an order.
Or maybe it's a security measure in light of what the
I
shenanigans
don't-
that take place
yeah,
there.
one wouldn't be knowing at least at this stage.
Have you presided in appeal matters?
I
you-
have, Chief Justice.
Full benches, full court?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Any more questions, colleagues? AJP?
Thank you, CJ. Firstly, I would like to give him special permission to raise this question. Because I would like to be given
Go
special
ahead.
permission to be
Go
given.
ahead, AJ.
Thank you very much.
This is your division.
I just want to know, my sister, what worries me, as I did tell you, I said, not to you only, but to all the judges of that Mthatha, that I don't want stories. You don't come to the AJP and say, this is what they are saying, that's what they are saying. Give me names so that I can act. For an example, I was, just when I thought the names of the corruptors were going to be given to me on a promise that they will be dropped, I took pain to go to the police and reported crimes. Not because I knew, but I was hoping that evidence would come from a colleague who said, I know those people. When I saw nothing developing out of that, I then reported to you that, look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to be chasing after shadows. Now, here's the question for you. Then comes an AJ, she reports that an attorney in Mthatha has done unconventional activities of forcing opening of the court at night, that is after 5 p.m. That is the motion court, the unopposed motion court. I called her, I called you, I said, let's have a discussion about this. And the report on this matter must go to the Chief Justice. But for me to do so, there must be complaints given to me. The acting judge must write to you because you're in charge of the acting judge and you give me your own opinion. And from that opinion, as it was my aim to do something about this, I would then act. That is what the ADJP does. It must assist me because I move around too much. Did you see did you find reason in me suggesting that the complaint should be made in writing and given to you so that if the complaint is genuine according to you, you then tell me so that I can report it?
Yes, AGP. The complaint has just been sent.
Okay, let me say something. Let me say something, it's fine. It's less about what happened because no one will know. I don't know. But this is what happens if you are a leader. If you say that things must happen and they don't happen, and then all of a sudden, stories, flimsy stories about disarray and this and that are dangled before the JSC. I asked the question, what is this intended to say about me? Is it intended to say that I'm inactive? Hence, I asked the question, those who make those statements should explain these things in a way that is mature for every one of us to understand. I acted out of a report of corruption, the origin of which I cannot tell even today. And I'm worried. And I vouched that I'm going to report, even if I'm killed, but I'm going to report that criminal amongst practitioners. But I must be given the name. Then I sought protection of the police. The police, I'm now going to court. I'm going to give evidence about what I've been told and the source to this. Now, when now I'm confronted about lost files, this is an old story, lost files, this and that, disarray. When action is not taken from those, the feeders of information, what did you expect the leadership to do? And I say this deliberately because she's complaining, the acting judge is complaining that you are stopping her from escalating this complaint. And I told her that if you dare not act because you tell me that an attorney has performed irregularities which are detrimental to your own future. That acting judge ended up granted an order which otherwise she would never have granted.
What's the question?
The question is, what happened to that matter?
The matter is still coming to you, AGP.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mqaitwa?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Judge Pakati, I've been asking the other candidates the same question, that you are presenting to us as if you are not insiders, as if you don't have judicial power. The Chief Justice, quite early on, described Mtata as shambolic, which is probably something she experienced when she was called in because the Daily Maverick exposed corruption. Now, you've also confirmed that the place is in a state of disarray. But we must ask as outsiders, why are you sitting there telling us instead of doing something about it? Because the Daily Maverick says this is an old institutional problem. And that is a problem for me because I have to judge whether or not you will be a good leader. But I have a question whether you will in fact be a good leader who has witnessed this and has done nothing and has now come looking for a promotion and then told us about these problems. And fortunately, in your case, you've experienced them firsthand because someone has come to you and tried to get you to perform a corrupt act of inventing a court order that does not exist, which is corruption. So until I know precisely what steps you've taken to solve the problem, it's very difficult to take seriously some of the points you've been making. Could you respond to that, please?
So, Commissioner, I'm not sure about if you are talking about the one of the order or other.
No, I think you can respond to both. But the substance of my concern is listening to you as if you are an outsider. When you are an insider, you have power to solve the problem. I don't want to feel sorry for a judge because the judge can solve the problem. And this is not corruption in the Department of Health, it's corruption in the court.
What I can say to you is that at the time that this order was, in fact, my secretary told me that Tata practitioner was telling her that there's an order that we need to sign. And because I had not seen that order and I did not know who the practitioner was, because I hoped that when we get to Mtata again, that practitioner would still be looking for the order. And then if they come to me, then I will be able to deal with that.
Yes, but I mean, okay, fine, thank you for that. But there is an institutional problem. The place is in disarray, there is corruption. You are one of the judges there who's quite senior. You now want to be a deputy judge president, which is the second most senior position in the division. What have you done about these problems?
Commissioner, I have said in this house what I did about the problems that I encountered. But the problem is that when we get there, we're not there for long. We're there for a week or two, and then you start dealing with it, and then you have to leave. And you report an incident to the AJP if there's an incident.
But I'm saying, even if you leave after 2 weeks, you have direct information. You live in the province, whether you are in Grahamstown or in Port Elizabeth. Umtata is only 3 or 4 hours away. You are the best person to solve the problem, not us sitting at the JSC. That's what I want to understand. I've been asking the same thing to all of the candidates, to give me a timetable and the steps they took.
The trouble, Judge Pakati, is that judges do not have a boss. Our boss is the Constitution. So the fact that the AJP is not your boss, if you see that he's not taking the necessary action, there are steps you can take. You can't just say, I reported to the AJP, and you see that the problem continues and you do nothing about it. That's just not good enough. It's worse you aspire towards a leadership position.
No, I understand, Chief Justice. I understand. And I want to tell this commission that from henceforth, things are going to be happening. If something happens before me, I will take action. I promise this body.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Commissioners. I think we've reached the end of your interview, Judge Pakati. Thank you very much for making yourself available. You're
Thank you,
excused.
Chief Justice.